Annyeong, it's Mikey here, coming to you guys with another video this week. Now, thank you all for your support and just seeing how this channel keeps getting bigger with like people commenting and getting more and more comments is actually amazing to see, and I'm truly grateful for that. Now today, I do have an exciting video. I haven't tried an Alice board in quite a while, and Epomaker sent me out their Tide Alice. Now, Epomaker has been doing some really cool things. I'm gonna be honest with you guys, I know that before Epomaker stuff was a little bit questionable, and some people were complaining about the QC and the fact that they were using like this off-brand software really did not really fit well with me, but they've been making some really big progress, and I think they're doing a lot to improve, and their communication has been quite open in terms of like me asking them things and things that I've like complaints that I've seen, and it seems like they're really doing a lot better. So I'm really excited to check this out. So let's go straight into the unboxing, and please make sure to like and subscribe. So starting off with the unboxing of the Tide Alice from Epomaker. Now, thank you again, Epomaker, for sending me this out. And just so you guys know, Tide is a series from Epomaker where they have a different versions of the Tide keyboards. Like there's a Tide 75, and we've also tried the Tide 40. Now, the Tide series is an aluminum series from Epomaker that honestly I think is done pretty well, though I do personally prefer their P series a lot more than the Tide. But the last one I tried was the Tide 49, and I loved it. Now, this one is an Alice board, so it's supposed to be more ergonomic. The last one I tried that was an Alice was the Sidu, and it's been a while since I've tried any other Alice boards, so let's take a look and see. Now, of course, Epomaker always provides a nice manual. It is actually pretty good. It gives you a lot of information in there, and it's actually well done. In terms of the box, you do get a basic cable. I honestly thought they would provide a braided cable like the P series, but no, it's just a basic one. You do get some extra switches. You get a keycap puller, switch puller. You also get an Allen key, which is actually supposed to help you open up the keyboard, and a screwdriver. The screwdriver, I'm kind of surprised though, because I don't believe you need one to open up this board. Now, of course, we are looking at the Tide Alice. Of course, we have to open it up. The actual build and the packaging for this, quite interestingly done. When I was doing that, I was really hoping to not scratch the board, which great thing, I didn't. I thought I did, but nope, did not scratch the board, which is good. Now, this board is incredibly sleek. Like the Tide series is a very, very sleek looking series. I would say if you are someone who likes a little bit more of that like really sleek, clean design, this is what this series is really meant for, is like having a nice sleek design on your desk. This board does come with tri-mode. As you guys saw on the top, I had a USB dongle holding spot. It is quite flat, which is nice, and the build quality of this board is really well done. One of the things I've always felt for the Tide series was it is a really nice premium feel. Now, of course, we're gonna have to weigh this board before we go into doing a sound test, so let's see how much this thing weighs. And it weighs 1.6 kg. So now that we've done the sound test with the stock and lube, we're going to, of course, do a teardown. And while we're doing the teardown, let me just show you guys a bit of the plate. So the Alice board is with an FR4 plate. And as you can see there, it is flex cut. Now,
One of the things that I found about flex cuts in general is I personally don't prefer them myself personally. The Tide 49 was also flex cut, which I didn't like. The P series though, like the P65 that I tried, like the 65%, was not a flex cut board, and I honestly personally prefer that a lot more. It just felt much nicer to type on, and I think they did a great job on it. I really do wish more companies provided that option of having a non-flex cut at 1.6. Now, this board, you only have 4 screws to remove, and it's going to be the hexagonal one, and I used the size of 1.5, so really really simple to take apart. And honestly, this board, the Tide series, are usually really really simple to actually take apart, and they've done a great job on that. Now this is the top lid, this top case. It is CNC aluminum. It is actually pretty decently thick in terms of like the thickness of the top case. Is we're looking at like 1.7, 1.6 millimeters on the sides. And honestly, I like how they did the gasket mounting on this board. It does feel really incredibly smooth and well done. And I think like Epomaker in general has done a great job in improving a lot of their build quality, and of course improving their QC, except for one thing, which is something I'll bring up a little bit later. Now, in terms of the stabilizers, they are plate mounted stabilizers. They are plate mounted right there, and they also have some lube inside. Now, the lubing of these switches is not like the most amazing, but there is some, and at least there is no ticking. Now, the back of the PCB, as you guys saw, is flex cut. I honestly was hoping for it to be not fully cut, but yes, it is a flex cut on the back. And of course, that means the PCB is 1.2 millimeters, which I'm not a huge fan of, honestly. I really do wish, again, that they provided something of different options, but as you can see, it's about 1.2 millimeters as well. Now, as you can see as well for the gasket mounting, we do have those like socks that goes on the plate. And as you can see in the bottom of the case, you can see where it go in, and it really just is there to help with the dampening in terms of how the case resonates with the PCB and plate. Now, the back of this is going to be a plastic sheet, so a static sheet with a foam, and the static sheet is actually taped fully onto the foam, and you can't really remove it. Now, this is a 4,000 milliamp hour battery, so you do get a decent battery life. And one thing I would like to do is, of course, give you guys a sound test that is without any foam in this board as well. So let's do that. So I did actually prefer the no foam. I think the Tide series in general is a lot better in terms of typing feel without any foam. But of course, I'm going to give you guys a modded sound test, which is a 2-layer tape mod. And then I'm not going to do any modding on the stabilizers just because they're split. It actually goes well. So let's hear that.
So we've done the sound test, we've done the teardown of the Alice, and I gotta admit, the quality of this board is really good. Like, Epomaker is really, really taking a step up, and I'm really appreciating that. The sound profile of this board does sound really good. I would say that it's not as great in terms of like the stock sound compared to like the Sidhu. Sidhu's sound so good stock. Like the Alice sounded amazing. The Epomaker Alice, I'm gonna be honest, is not as great stock. but it still has potential. Like this thing, in terms of the build quality, I would say like the full CNC, this is just a lot better. Of course, we're gonna have to go take a look in depth more and take a seat and see like how good this board is and the software and much more. So let's get straight into that.
So going into really taking a look, the CNC on this board has done really, really well. Like it is incredibly smooth, and I'm super impressed by what they did with this. Honestly, like this board has been incredible in terms of the build quality of it. I do appreciate how they do have like the USB dongle slot, which is, really something I really do appreciate on every board. I think every single board should have it if it's going to have a USB dongle. It's too easy to lose it, honestly. The switch to making it wireless is available on the top as well, and it's just an off and on switch, so you don't actually have any switches for, like the different wireless modes or the like Windows or Mac mode, but you do get it in the function shortcut. The layout of this board, honestly, I'm not a big fan of how the B is. It does feel a little bit uncomfortable in terms of typing wise. Now, the switch in this board, as I'm mentioning, was the Epomaker Zebra switch, and I'm not a huge fan in terms of the quality control of this switch. It really can be on and off. Sometimes you get a really nice one where, like this one, I didn't have any break this time when I was lubing the switches, but before I've had times where like I broke 5, and it's really something that I think Epomaker needs to work on. Or, I would really love them to bring on something new. Like, it would be nice to see Epomaker do a completely new type of switch, because, it's kind of getting old with the same switches constantly with their boards. I would love to see something new. Now, in total, like, using this at the office was fine. You don't have the switches actually being too loud because of the way that the Epomaker Zebra switches are. It is actually quite dampened in terms of the sound wise. Now, it's unfortunate though that you get no like function key on the left side. I think it'd be much, much easier to have the function key there just to deal with functions on the left side, and then a function key on the right to deal with stuff on the right side. The B really does get difficult to press, and I really have a hard time, making myself really get used to it. The Sidhu, I believe, had the B on both sides. It was actually left and right, and I'm more used to pressing the B with my right thumb, and my brain is just so set to it that it can't do it. Like my right hand keeps, like the thumb keeps going to that B. Now, and I'm sure technically ergonomically, if I was to sit properly, it'd probably be okay, but it's just something for myself. And I do not like the fact that there's no windows on the left key either. It would be something nice to really have as well. Now, in terms of like gaming performance too, this board was completely fine, but because of the way Alice boards are set up, it is a little bit harder to play games when you have to use keys on like all the way to the right side as well. And that's something that personally, like it's only dependent on the game you play. I just found myself like being okay with some games, but like Apex, because I press Y and like H, things like that, and M, I just had a hard time with it. Alice boards do work, but it really is meant for more typing. But you can definitely play games with this. It has good performance with like no latency issues, especially when you're playing wired. Right? If you're not using wireless, wired most keyboards will work really well. Now, of course, let me give you guys a little bit more of the lighting test, like the backlighting, because right now I have the backlighting turned on with lights on. You can't see it at all. So let me show you guys without any lighting what we're looking at in terms of how bright the backlighting can be. Now, as you can see, the lights are completely turned off and you don't see anything but a small flickering light on the screen. That is because the lighting on this board, it is incredibly dim. Like we're talking about almost not visible. Like it's almost not visible to your eyes. It's crazy how dim it is, right? Like I'm having to move the keyboard at the perfect angle right now just for you guys to catch something on camera. That's how dim it is. Yes, in person, you're going to be able to see it better, right? Because, of course, camera has a bit more different setting in terms of how it catches lights. But this is incredibly dim. This is at max brightness, and we're talking about barely being able to see it with any lighting. So keep that in mind for yourselves if you do like backlighting. Now, let's take a look at the website. So going into Epomaker's website, we're looking at $130 USD for the Alice board. That is actually a pretty decent price, especially considering the quality of build that you're getting for this board, right? The whole Alice board, it is super slick, right? As you can see how they even took the photos, it is meant to be really like like a sleek design board for those that really do appreciate it, especially if you are in like an office space and you want that nice like aesthetic in terms of your board. Now, this board does have VIA support, something that I'm really appreciating more and more and seeing Epomaker do. Now, as you can see, you just have to load the file, right? You just download it, make sure it's in the folder that you put all your JSON files for different keyboards, and then you just load it in VIA in the designer tab and you have it open. So sometimes it doesn't work the first time, you just have to load it again and usually it'll come up. Now, one thing I do personally prefer doing for Alice boards is making the right space bar the Windows key. This is something that will just become more useful, especially if you use Windows key a lot. And I tend to actually be searching stuff a lot, so it does help to have one side because I don't use the right spacebar when I'm typing. Now, this is the board's like software. It is really amazing. Honestly, I love the fact that VIA is just so customizable, works really well, and it's just perfect for boards that don't have a personal like software that's updated all the time. Now, as you can see, we're using Keyboard Inspector to check the polling rate, and as you can see, it gets 1000 hertz, which is more than enough, right? That's like perfect amount for gaming wired. You don't need anything more than that in terms of playing video games. Like, this is perfectly fine. Now, one thing I want to do is give you a sound test between Sidhu. So, in my honest opinion, comparing the Sidhu and the Tide Atlas, I think the Sidhu switches just sound so much nicer. Like, the truth is, Sidhu's switches stock as well sounded way better than the Epomaker Zero switches in this Tide Atlas. The Epomaker Tide Atlas, though, I think is really well done. The fact is, though, the Sidhu does have that FN on the left, the function key, which is really, really, really useful. But I would say in terms of typing, like, feel, the Tide Atlas is a lot better. Once you remove the foam, it has a nice like flex to it as well, and you will have a really great time typing on this for sure. So I'll have the links in the description.
So we've done the comparison with this one and the Sidhu. I would say that Sidhu's stock sound wise and the switches in it are actually better than the Tide Atlas. That's just my personal opinion. I think the Sidhu's just was really nicely done in terms of the stock sound. But in terms of the build quality, I think the Tide Atlas has that step up. It's really nice that like how they did it. I love how the fact that like they provide all the tools ever to make it apart. It would sound really, really good for sure if it had different switches in it. And I really do wish that they did that. It's unfortunate that they didn't. And honestly, I really hope Epomaker that you see this and that you guys will really take that step to make some new switches. It would be nice to see some really nice switches to be done and put it into this board. So I'll have the links in the description for you guys to take a look. I think really, if you're looking for an Alice board that is nicely done and just feels really good, I would take a look at this board, and I'll have the links in the description for you guys. So go check it out, and please check out the other videos I got, and I'll see you guys next time.